This just in, to CBS Sports HQ, Von Miller is signing with the Commanders on a one-year deal. A former three-time first-team All-Pro, Miller had 14 sacks over the past 3 seasons in Buffalo. His 129.5 sacks are the most by any player since he entered the league in 2011. He also brings winning experience as a 2-time Super Bowl champ and former Super Bowl MVP. And for more on this, we welcome in CBS Sports lead NFL insider Jonathan Jones. And JJ, tell us exactly how this deal came together.
So the Washington Commanders have been looking for some edge rush help for some time. They didn't really go out and get it in the draft. And you'll remember, of course, that the Commanders, they used to have a whole bunch of pass rushers, right? But then 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, they wound up trading a Chase Young. They traded Montez Sweat. And then under new management with general manager Adam Peters, started looking around for the right pieces to fit in Dan Quinn's defense. And so they have added a ton of experience and veteran leadership. And look, if you're reading between the lines on what I'm trying to say here, age, along with plenty of young guys, but certainly you look on the defensive side, and at each level, you have some guys who got some grays, right? And certainly Von Miller up there at the front, 36 years old. He is not the Von Miller who wreaked havoc in Super Bowl 50 and won Super Bowl MVP. He's not the Von Miller who wreaked havoc several years later for the Los Angeles Rams as sort of a mercenary to help them get a Lombardi. You're not going to really get that Von Miller these days. But if the Commanders can keep him healthy, certainly you're going to get a guy who knows what it's like to play deep into the playoffs. And that's something that, of course, the Commanders, after last year, want to continue doing.
Yeah, he and Bobby Wagner, two of the OGs, if you will, for that Commanders defense when you look at their age. Now, as you mentioned, he's 36 years old, drafted in 2011. In your opinion, you talk about his health, right, making sure he stays healthy. How much does he have left in the tank for this team that is trying to contend for a Super Bowl championship?
Yeah, they're certainly going to have to manage him. I don't think there's any doubt at all about that. Dan Quinn, a well-respected coach in every locker room that he has ever been in, either as a defensive coordinator or head coach, from Atlanta to Dallas, now, of course, with Washington. He's going to know how to take care of the vets. He knew how to take care of them last year. He's going to continue this upcoming year. They all know that they need Von Miller far more in December and January, and hopefully for them February, than they do in September and October. Ultimately, the Buffalo Bills cut bait with Von Miller because they deemed that his play was not worthy of his pay. Remember when the Bills were seeing that championship window, they did something that was a little un-Bills-like when they signed him to that 6-year, $120 million contract. And then, of course, he goes out in the first year, playing well, tears his ACL. Comes back the second year, isn't playing that well. Kept trying to recreate things that just weren't there. His body was not right. And then last year, of course, battling some injuries, had a suspension as well. But still, we're not seeing that Pro Bowl, All-Pro Von Miller. And I don't really think that we're probably going to see him again. So this is all about maintaining for the Washington Commanders. This is about making sure that you're scoring enough points on offense and that the defense is doing what they do. Look, Bobby Wagner has found the fountain of youth. There's no question at all about that. They went out and decided that they could swap out a Jonathan Allen for a Javon Kinlaw. They have made some changes and some adjustments, but this, Chris, and we'll know this once all the cuts have happened, but this is probably going to be the oldest team in the NFL. And it may even be the oldest team by a decent amount, right? They'll be competing with the Pittsburgh Steelers, who obviously have 40-plus-year-old Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. And so that's going to be very important on the strength and conditioning staff, on the health and wellness, on nutrition, on all of those groups that work behind the scenes that make sure that the bodies get through a 17-game season and then a 4 or so game playoff season. That is what is going to be crucial for this group because they got a lot of names. And my goodness, if they had some of these names 5 years ago, you'd be saying, oh boy. So right now it's 2025, and you got to make sure that Von Miller is taken care of this upcoming season.
And because of all those points that you laid out so beautifully, JJ, what are your expectations for this Commanders team next season?
Well, what they're going to have to do is forget about last year. And I actually talked about this earlier on Wednesday on CBS Sports HQ, where they are going to have to flush that, yes, you went 12-5, and yes, you have the offensive rookie of the year. You got probably a half dozen first or second team all-pros on this team just from this past season. You know, you were competing with the Philadelphia Eagles. All that stuff's great. It doesn't mean anything for 2025. And Dan Quinn is certainly going to be preaching that to these guys when they report to training camp in just a few days. He kind of has bifurcated this team. It doesn't matter how long you've been in the NFL. You're year one with the Washington Commanders if you just came on this upcoming year, right? And so that's a Deebo Samuel. That's a Laramie Tunsil. And that, of course, is a Von Miller. And then you're a year two if you were around last year, knowing what it takes and understanding what this franchise, what this organization, what this coaching staff is asking of you. We see their schedule right there. Of course, they're going to start with an NFC East battle against the Giants, but this is a group that I know there's a lot of people, there's a lot of excitement, right? Because they've added so many names, right? You add a Laramie Tunsil, you add a Deebo Samuel, you add a Von Miller. Those are all, in terms of a lot of households being big NFL fans, household names. Are they going to be able to all work together? Are they going to be able to stay healthy? Are they just names, or are they more than that? And is it going to mesh more or less? All of those things are certainly to be determined. But man, you got to love what this Washington Commanders team at least is attempting to do, right? They know that the Philadelphia Eagles are the class of the NFL, and they are in their division. So you're going to have to compete with them. They know the Dallas Cowboys are going to have a healthy quarterback in Dak Prescott. You're going to have to compete with them. And then you look at the teams in the NFC North as well. San Francisco is going to be coming back. It is not going to be easy in this NFC conference so long as everyone stays healthy, as we all hope that they do. But that, of course, Chris, is what's going to be crucial for this team, perhaps the oldest in the NFL this upcoming season.
Jonathan Jones providing us with the latest insight on Von Miller going to the Commanders and putting it all into perspective, what it means for this team going forward. JJ, thanks so much for the time, man.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you.
Big news coming out of the NFL. A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
With highlights.
What a finish at the final round of play.
And in-depth analysis.
Can they three-peat? Tony Romo joins the conversation.
What can you say about this game?
When you need your sports in a snap,
we're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
Find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.